So what do you need besides a miracle?
Guns. Lots of guns.
Neo. No one has ever done anything like this.
Well, actually, Trinity, we have done this twice before. This is going to be the third in our Antiques Gunshow series, and this time we're looking at 80s and 90s action movies. Hello, and welcome to another episode of What Is This Weapon, and the third in what's becoming an occasional series of a special subset of this series, which we've come to call Antiques Gunshow. I always think of it in terms of the old British game show Supermarket Sweep, but that's probably because of running around with trolleys of guns. Anyway, without further ado, let me introduce this episode's esteemed guest. This is Wilson of the excellent Hollywood Guns channel. Very much enjoy your channel. Came across it fairly early on, I think.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, made annoying comments, I think, right away.
Before I realised it was you.
But yeah, you're doing great work. Tell us a bit about how you got the channel started.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Wilson. The channel is Hollywood Guns on YouTube. I'm British, obviously, but I've lived in America now for nearly 20 years. And like all good pilgrims, I followed the sunset west. I grew up in the 80s and 90s watching American action movies with Stallone, Schwarzenegger and the like, and I always wanted to live there. And when I got to the States, I realized that I could own firearms due to the Second Amendment there, and I began collecting guns. And then as I got older and I had children, I started to sort of go back and look at my past and explore all the movies that I hadn't seen for a couple of decades. And I realized that my firearms collection was basically built around the guns that you see in movies. I started researching on YouTube. There wasn't a channel that focused on that, so I decided to make one. And it's been operating for about 9 months now, and I think I have about 35 videos up at this particular point. And I analyze the guns, the actual real firearms that you see in your favorite movies, and I talk about the accuracy of the firearms portrayal, the actor's portrayal of the guns in those movies. And then I also do some top 5 videos where I show you the top 5 movies that a particular firearm appeared in.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Really good format, really well presented. Definitely recommend it. And it's great to have you here in person. You don't normally get to see your face.
Yeah, no, nobody really wants to see my face. They see my hands a lot. So.
But it's good. I think a variety of formats is good. You know, where I've always been quite conscious that the sitting behind a table with a gun, especially if we're taking it apart, is the Forgotten Weapons format.
That's absolutely right.
You know, or the See an Arsenal format, where with the long deep dive. I think our channel's maybe somewhere between those two. We have our own take. There's room for lots of different approaches, but I really think your different visual style, your use of the clips and everything works really well. I love the Lazy Susan.
Oh yeah, you give it away all my secrets.
We won't be copying that, obviously, but yeah. So great to have you here. And as you've kind of hinted, I suspect you're probably thinking what the theme is here. It's 80s and 90s action movie guns, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So we're going to follow loosely the format of before, with a pistol, a sort of secondary weapon and a primary weapon. We'll have to keep that a little bit loose, I think even more so with this format, because otherwise we won't get in. I was going to say our favourite stuff, but this isn't favourites, is it? This is what we think are the most iconic.
Yeah, the kind of ultimate loadout action movie from the 80s, maybe the 90s, the biggest, best movie guns of that era.
Definitely the 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We may even attempt to actually score, because you do some great scoring of guns in movies.
Okay. So
we'll see if we can bring a bit of that over into this as well. I don't know if we'll need a third party to rule on that, though. Can't mark our own homework, can we? That's the trouble.
Maybe we can reach an agreement.
We'll have to think about that. And of course, you can always disagree with us. I'm sure you will do, actually, in the comments. We've only got 3 slots each, so there's going to be a lot of stuff missed out, just to warn you. So, should we go and have a bit of a rummage?
Let's go do it.
Around here and see what we can find?
Looking forward to it.
Right. We have cheated by staging the guns nearby because previously I think it's been a bit too obvious, or we've had to avert our eyes as we've approached.
Yeah, I have no idea what you picked, so
Likewise. So, who wants to go first?
it's your show.
Okay. So, well, let me start by saying my instinctive choice, and you tend to veer toward favourite rather than iconic or best, was the Beretta 92.
Okay.
So let's just throw that out there. Lots and lots of movies. Some of my favourites, Die Hard notably, Matrix. This is why I will always say 90s must be included. 99, right at the end of the decade, comes The Matrix with a number of iconic firearms in it. But out of respect for the history of cinema, I have gone with the Colt Single Action Army revolver. It's in hundreds of films, I think.
Literally.
Check IMFDB, which I believe you are now involved with.
Yeah, their videos are up on my videos are up on their site.
Yeah, which is great because you're kind of like the video equivalent of that. Anyway, just countless films, and the first fictional big screen appearance of a firearm ever, I believe. Please feel free to fact check me in the comments. 1903, the Great Train Robbery.
Okay.
Now that's because, of course, in 1903, this thing was still a standard sidearm for a lot of people. People on ranches were still carrying them, of course. We've moved beyond the era of the gunfighter, but of course the movie is reflecting 10, 20, 30 years before when this thing was... I mean, I guess it comes in relatively late, not in terms of when it comes out. So 1873 is when it becomes available, famously, sometimes called the Model 1873. It's when it's introduced as the US Cavalry's standard pistol. And yes, it is a pistol, American friends, as well as being a revolver pistol. So that's where it sort of begins to proliferate. But of course, things take years, decades to truly become common. This caught on pretty quickly. It was affordable, mass-produced, very capable. Single action only, of course, but that gives us that one of two iconic features, I think, of this in action: the thumbing the hammer back. I mean, they do that anyway in the movies, don't they? Whether it needs to be thumbed back or not, for emphasis, as a threat or whatever. But as we know, this thing doesn't work unless you do thumb cock it. So you get a lot of very dramatic action with that. Loading, countless scenes where people will duck behind a tree or cover or something, flip open the loading gate, frantically try and get rid of the empties from each chamber. I've actually got it on the wrong setting there. Knock them all out and then, thumb in the next. You can really use reloading as a dramatic device, and this is one of the first times I ever remember seeing that.
How about a little 5-card Russian roulette?
Why not? 7.
If this was, the swing out cylinder just isn't as dramatic, I don't think.
Okay.
And so we go, not, funnily enough, not in every Western. The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, famous Western. I don't think there's a single one of these in it, or at least not very prominent. But so many movies, all the way up to the modern Westerns. I actually, controversially, really like the Magnificent Seven remake. The original, of course, classic, unassailable. Perhaps they'd have been better off making a new modern Western action movie with Chris Pratt in it, and then the comparisons wouldn't have been there. But I really like it. And it's an action take on the Western genre, but I think 80s and 90s action owes its origins to this. First one to appear on film. Yes, it peters out drastically by the 80s and 90s, and I'm cheating slightly because some of its modern scenes, the Magnificent Seven remake is much more modern than that. Expendables, where a short version of this comes in, but it's used by Sylvester Stallone. So that's where I'm already breaking the format by including it.
Okay.
But that's what I'm going with. And they do still crop up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Occasionally later on.
Okay then, so I went in a completely different direction, and I chose what I think might be the most desirable 1980s sidearm of all time. This is the Bren 10 from Dornius and Dixon, if I said that correctly. I probably didn't. And this is in 10mm. And the reason I chose this is that it was featured in season 1 and 2 of Miami Vice. Possibly the greatest action TV drama of all time, from the best decade of all time, from the golden cinematic era of the 1980s. And in addition to this gun being held by Sonny Crockett, played by Don Johnson, Miami Vice was my gateway drug into the TV shows and movies of Michael Mann. And Michael Mann produced my two favorite movies of all time, Heat and Collateral, starring Tom Cruise. Fantastic. So I went with that.
Two of my favorites as well, I should say.
Yeah. And this one, I think, this is chambered in 10mm, which was a very new cartridge at the time. And it wasn't a particularly successful gun. It's lusted after by tons of people on my channel and movie gun enthusiasts. However, it was quite a unreliable firearm, and unfortunately the company went bankrupt a few years after it came out. And then afterwards, Don Johnson switched over to Smith & Wesson model 645 and 4506 for the remaining episodes.
Which have a similar 80s aesthetic, don't they?
Yeah.
Not as distinctive as this. This is I forget how hefty this is.
Yeah, try and cock it back and feel how hard it.
Yeah, it's
really stiff
spring. So this and 40 Smith & Wesson both have pokier recoil springs to accommodate that additional recoil. The other thing that so we have the Raven of Gunsight. The training shooting facility, which was involved in the history. We will have to come back and cover this on our channel at some point. I'm pretty sure Ian's done it before. But yeah, just a big, hefty, blocky thing, all built around that 10mm cartridge. So this was, a lot of people thought this was the future. And there's this constant caliber debate. You know, 9x19 comes in with the Luger in 1908, that version of the Luger. Becomes a really good compromise between capacity, power, sort of subjectively, penetration especially. So some of those 19th century revolvers, one of the reasons this was so successful is that for its period, it was powerful. It had a decent amount of penetration, a good diameter of bullet to cause that damage that you need to cause. But a lot of people in America loved that 45 ACP cartridge, of course, popularized by... And we haven't even mentioned it, but we must, because that really does carry through from the classic age, the golden silver ages of cinema, all the way through the era that we should be focusing on, the Colt 1911, the Colt government. And that pistol and that cartridge, also, of course, used in the Tommy gun, another iconic movie firearm, that is seen as more powerful, more stopping power. And cartridges like 10mm come out as the compromise. Well, this is better than both of those. You know, you've got some more capacity than 45 with a double stack, because that's why this thing is so thick. Double stack magazine gives you a little bit more than 7 rounds of 45, and you also got a high velocity bullet coming out of there as well. So similar kind of diameter to cause that crushing damage, which is what we're talking about there, but also velocity as well. So you get far enough into someone to hit something really vital, and you cause a big enough hole to make it really bad as well. This is all tied up with things like the FBI's testing protocol to make sure that when they shoot bad guys, they stay down, that kind of thing. But then you've got the competition world feeding into, you know, what is the best pistol? And this was one attempt to do that.
Yeah, to finish your thought off on the FBI, if I remember correctly, the 10mm cartridge was designed as a reaction to the 1986 Miami-Dade shooting, where the police felt, or the FBI felt, they were very much outgunned by the armed robbers. And so Smith & Wesson developed the 10mm cartridge, and they deployed it in the 1076 model, Smith & Wesson 1076 model. About 2,000 agents used these guns for a while, but then they concluded that it was too powerful from recoil for a lot of the kind of FBI agents. A lot of them were slight or female. And so from that, they backed off the pressure and brought the firepower, if you like, of the cartridge down a little bit. And we got this 40 Smith & Wesson that became a real big law enforcement cartridge for the 1990s.
Yep, into the present, actually, but it's fallen away quite drastically ever since the FBI realised they kind of knee-jerked twice into something that was a bit too pokey. And actually, I think, well, arguably, I'm not going to take sides, but 40 is not that extra power of 10mm, and is it really worth the compromise, I suppose? They decided not, so blame the FBI if you like 40 Smith & Wesson. And we circled back round to that cartridge from 1908, because you can just shoot more bullets. But this is, I probably could have guessed this choice in a way, just because it's so 80s. And actually, we need to talk about scoring now.
Okay.
And we're going to do this for all three rounds. We're going to do sidearm, secondary, and primary. You've already won, haven't you? Because so our criteria are how iconic the thing is to.
First one is how big the movie or TV series was that it appeared in. The second one is the rarity and iconic nature. God, we use that word.
We do.
Is there another word for iconic? How iconic the firearm is and how rare that particular firearm is.
Yeah.
And then the third one is power.
Yes, which is why I say you've already won, because this is very generic, but it's largely generic to the era before the era we're supposed to have focused on. So I feel like I've tripped over there.
Could I give you an out? And because later ones were in 45 long Colt, weren't they? Certainly.
So
is that still in 45 long Colt?
This is a good point. It's not. People think of this as one of the two Colt 45s, and this one is 45 long Colt, made in 1894. By the way, I've chosen one with a decent or little bits of finish left. Most of them are absolutely bare from many decades of use, including getting used to bang in nails. So that's the sort of standard cartridge, if you like, but they're also in 44-40, 41 rimfire. We have one in that rare caliber, 41 rimfire. There are 22s from later on, 357s from later on. It does have this long afterlife to the very present day. So I don't think I was wrong to choose it, but I think you've trumped me with such an incredibly iconic last use of that word. We now need to find different words. My advice, as you say, we wouldn't have Collateral and Heat, and to be fair, the movie as well from later on. Opinions vary on that one, but without this thing. Yeah. So I think you've ticked all three boxes, and I haven't quite nailed it.
All right.
So I don't know if we'll see if we can throw up some number scoring on the screen, but I'm going to concede that round.
Okay. It's a good start.
But we have to pay due respect to this thing, both in firearms history and in movie history. And we're going to continue to see this in the future, where we probably won't.
No, these are super rare. I mean, I had to come all the way to England to find one from America. So yeah, not easy to come by.
Better luck next time for me then. Shall we go and see what the next thing is?
Let's do it.
Right. So this is, I think, what we're calling our secondary slots. So, I mean, if you think of what the Navy SEALs were doing in the early 2000s-ish, they had their rifle, they had their pistol, but they also had a secondary weapon, effectively, the MP7. And it's kind of a video game trope as well. And of course, action movies, they festoon themselves with multiple guns sometimes as well. So that's how we're doing that, just to be clear. So we could flex this and like have different types of weapon in these top two tiers. But I don't know what we've actually done.
We're getting cryptic, okay.
No, to be fair, I have stuck pretty closely to the, to the format.
Sorry.
I'm just in case of variety. So, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, I have gone for the MP5, specifically the MP5A3. And well, specifically, this one has super specifically, this one has the earlier pattern of lower receiver. Not, of course, what you see in movies like Die Hard, Predator, those early, the real 1980s action movies where they had to take the HK94 and cut that thing down, as we discussed on your channel.
We did, or you did.
Yeah, so this is a bona fide one, and I did a quick count over on IMFDB last night, and it's, if you include those chopped down HK94s, which were cosplaying as MP5A3s, the A3 variant alone, i.e. the sliding stock automatic fire, over 200 movies.
Wow.
And if you then include the A5, the A2 and the A4 with the fixed stocks, the MP5K, it's hundreds.
Yeah.
It's like the single action army of the 80s, 90s, 2000s. It's not specific to that era, but for me, it's absolutely, that's the first thing I think of. I think of Dylan getting his arm blown off in Predator. I think of John McClane firing his warning shots into the sky, shooting, you know, and it's just such a cool gun.
Holy shit.
It's my favourite of the, it's my favourite modern era firearm of all time. To look at, to shoot, to learn about the history of, and that includes movie history as well. And we have to get in. One of those, because. So
All
beat
right.
that.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So
And it's a submachine gun, so it's very much that middle tier.
So going back to those rules, you've got awesome epic movies, Die Hard, Predator, everything.
The Rock. Let's throw that in as well.
Absolutely. That's a Bond movie, isn't it?
Patriotism is the virtue of the vicious, according to Oscar Wilde. Thank you for making my point.
Well, I would say no, but I respect the fanon there.
Okay. So you got epic movies. I don't think anyone's going to win the power competition here.
Okay.
Because I went with 9mm as well. And then the third rule was kind of like the rarity of it. So
that's where this falls down, because they're absolutely everywhere. And
Yeah.
I should say, sorry to interrupt your flow there, but part of the reason this is in so many movies is it includes all the background guys, you know, SWAT teams, military guys. Every time a movie features, you know, it could be some romantic comedy, and if there's an armed policeman in London, he's got an MP5 as well. So I'm cheating slightly there, and it also loses out because it's just absolutely ubiquitous from the 70s through to the present day. Even these things are everywhere.
Yeah, they certainly are. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to match you for capacity, I believe. 32.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we
I
go
remember us
with
talking about
the
this.
rarity factor.
This is where we might have to come up with some sort of weighted scoring system.
Yeah. From memory, I think this is only in 2 massive movies. I'm going to talk about the first one, but if you can help out with some comments on the general who carried this in the second very famous movie. But anyway, so if you don't know what this is the Jatimatic SMG. I came all the way from America to England to film the Bren 10, but really I came to see this too. I could not find one of these anywhere other than the Royal Armouries Museum. And whilst I was rummaging in your drawers, you have 4 of them, like you're hoarding Jatimatics.
Yes, I feel slightly bad about that, to be honest, but yeah.
But anyway, so this is Sylvester Stallone playing Mario Cobretti in the epic, which is Cobra.
This is where the law stops, and I start. Suck 'em.
And not only is this gun super cool, it has a very strange, perhaps you can talk to this in a second because I don't know about it, but this is how you charge the weapon. So You pull the foregrip down, and then you go like, ugh.
It's like a thigh master or something.
Pump it like that, and then you can see the word fire. And that is now ready to fire from the open bolt. Like, these things are so rare that before I came here and handled one, I didn't even know that it fired from the open bolt.
Well, you wouldn't, because it looks like it's a closed bolt.
Yeah, and then you put it back to that position there, and then you can like fire the gun. And again, I'm not sure if you sort of saw that, but it's got that lovely open bolt ka-chunk like that. That's great. So yeah, so that's the Jatimatic. So I think I got you on the rarity factor, but
Yep, for sure.
but is Cobra a better movie than Die Hard?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm all for nuance, but no.
No.
Now, I'm slightly biased there, because I must admit, I think in the pandemic era, a lot of us decided to catch up on stuff that we hadn't seen for a while or hadn't seen at all.
Yeah.
And to the detriment of my 80s action movie credentials, I hadn't seen Cobra
What?
until like 2020.
Wow.
So we got a Stallone box set, and we watched it, and it's bloody weird, isn't it?
Yes, it is. but-
Really weird film.
Yeah.
Where
I mean,
he
wears
keeps-
gloves.
He keeps his ammunition in the fridge,
He does.
I think.
And he
with his
cuts his
pizza.
pizza with a pair of scissors.
Yeah. Some just random stuff in there. I gather there's a longer cut in theory, or there would be if they made it, that might make a bit more sense. There's some good classic 80s action in it. Fascinating. This was a great time for movies inserting wacky guns of the moment.
Yeah.
And this was that. And it's got a whole history behind it of the designer who went to jail, and the weird barrel that sticks, that effectively sticks up if you
Yeah.
hold the thing level. So the idea is that helps to mitigate the muzzle rise. And yeah, the weird pump cocking, this awful floppy foregrip that is also the cocking handle. Lack of a buttstock. I think there might have been a version with one, but it's super, super rare.
This one doesn't even have a selector switch on it.
No.
So does that mean it's like full giggle mode all the time?
Oh. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Which I guess fits with the no buttstock thing. So almost more like a machine pistol.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is a version with a selector. I don't think.
Yeah, you've got one in the drawer.
Okay.
I saw it.
It's been a while. We do have a video on this on our channel from a while back. But yeah, a very 80s choice. And it will stand up on its own, but I
Look at
don't
that.
trust it. So. I think it's acquired the nickname Jatimatic, which is
I was going to say Jankiamatic like thing.
such a strange thing. When you think of the Uzi or the Ingram even the Ingram, which is maybe not the world's best firearms design, why would you bother? But people are trying different things.
Yeah.
You know, every firearms designer or every inventor in history has been convinced that their thing was a solid improvement. But it's a stark contrast on the practicality front between these two.
We're going to need a judge to settle this one, I think.
Well, I like to think it's a win for this, but we'll have a confab and see what happens.
All right.
So that is 2 down and 1 to go. We have so the most obvious choice is a rifle, but we have opened this up to, especially because it's an action movie, it could be anything that your hero might rampage through the jungle or through a tower block with.
Okay. Like the sommelier in John Wick 2, I'm going to go big, bold for this one.
I was hoping one of us would.
Okay, we might pick the same thing.
There's always honourable mentions, but yeah,
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Right, we're doing this as a walk-in for our final two choices. And they are both instantly recognisable. Well done carrying that in.
Still see me?
It's gonna, yeah, we might have to, I don't know how we're gonna manage this. And this is without any of the gubbins.
Yeah.
So if you visit us here at the Royal Armouries in Leeds, we have one of these in full helicopter mounts, rather like one of the movies it's famous for appearing in. With the feed chute, the linker delinker, I think there's a battery mock-up as well, and the firing grips that you actually need to shoot this thing. This is it without any of that, really. So still weighs a ton.
It weighs about, I think it's about 50 pounds.
It's a mounted weapon. The real contrast here, but both reflect very, very famous sci-fi movies. Yours goes beyond that. Shall I kick off?
Sure.
I mean, this is, hopefully everyone knows what this is. Well, they probably, a lot of them probably know what's inside it as well. But so the pulse rifle M41A, a fictional weapon. I felt like we needed to include a bit of that sci-fi genre, and also the mashup weapons that we see in this era as well. Starting, I guess, with Star Wars, Blade Runner, those kind of, well, in two ways. One, disguising real guns to look like something new and different. So you still have something that has a muzzle flash, has a bang, the actor can respond to it, there's movement going on, all of that good stuff. Star Wars kind of just glued some, a bit like glue some gears on it and call it steampunk. It was a little bit kind of stick some stuff on it, break up the outline, and call it a good job. The same crew at Bapty, Simon Atherton was the main armourer, took that a step further for James Cameron's Aliens, which is, in case anyone doesn't know, and what are you doing with your lives if you don't know that, is where this comes from.
There they go over there! Get them! Come on!
And I think they went much, much further, changing that outline. Like, unless you are, I guess, a World War II buff, you wouldn't necessarily spot that inside all of this is a Thompson submachine gun. Decided upon because of muzzle flash, basically. So James Cameron drew the design. Simon Atherton, who I've met, a very nice chap, and has worked on all sorts of things for many, many years. Firstly with Bapty and then his company Zorg. And he's wrangled all sorts, not just guns, swords, all sorts of things. So that was the gun that they sort of hid inside here. I think if they were doing it from scratch now, you wouldn't do it that way for various reasons. But that's what's in there. And then some of them, and this is one of the original sort of hero guns, one of 6 or maybe 7 that we think existed. And then there are resin stunt ones as well. But just 1 or 2 of them had a Remington 870 shotgun inside here as the 30mm pump action grenade launcher. So it's that idea. This is almost everything in Aliens is an extrapolation of the Vietnam War in one way or another. And if you really squint, you can sort of see like AR-15, M16 carrying handle, maybe the XM177, the Colt Commando, the Car-15 in the length and the sliding stock, and an underbarrel weapon, the M203 most famously. So all of that extrapolated into the future, something that looks cool, futuristic, powerful enough to take down the beast that was first introduced in 1979's Alien, and seemed to be pretty damn invulnerable in that. You needed something, well, 10mm explosive tipped caseless is what they say this fires. So this is one of only a few that exist in our collection. You can normally come and see this on display. Apologies to anyone who doesn't see it while this is off being filmed. The only one thing I should mention, and it looks a little janky, this never had a shotgun in it, as I've kind of implied already. And when they came back to make Alien 3, they'd stripped all but one of them down to parts, and they'd thrown away the bits of metal that give it its iconic silhouette. I've said iconic again, never mind.
I won't.
So they took the remaining one and they moulded it in vacuum form plastic, and that's why the ones that appear at the end of Alien 3, well, you can't see in the movie, but they actually have this rather creaky, slightly disappointing shroud. But that's part of its movie history. One way or another, I'm a fan of all of the Alien movies, sometimes begrudgingly. And Alien 3, I liked what it was trying to do. And the black commando version of this that shows up at the end, this is one of those guns.
Wow.
So.
Okay, to me then, in the great words of Jeremy Clarkson, more power. So this is the General Electric 134 minigun, in case you didn't know that. I think everybody knew that. And going back to the kind of rules of scoring, I was like, okay, is this the ultimate man weapon, I guess? And obviously this is from at least 3 giant movies from the 1980s and 90s. First off, Predator with Jesse Ventura.
By the way, I go back and forth, as we all do, but I'm pretty sure that's my favourite movie of all time.
Oof, it's a good choice.
Not even Aliens, I know. I used to go back and forth between the two, but the older I get, the more I want to come back to Predator.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So Jesse Ventura starts off with this, and of course it's Old Painless. And after he gets disposed of by the Predator, Bill Duke picks it up with a classic line that I'm not going to say, and I'm hoping you're going to roll the B footage in for that. And then he shoots that out into the jungle. And then, of course, everybody turns out and they're just wasting bullets out into the jungle scene. Totally amazing other word other than the one beginning with I. And then after that, the same movie prop that was used in Predator turns up in Terminator 2. In the scene at Cyberdyne Systems, where Arnold takes on the LAPD and just wreaks absolute havoc in that. So what do you got there? You got your favorite movie from the 1980s, one of my favorite movies from the 1990s. And then, of course, we finish off the decade in 1999. This minigun, I don't think it was the same prop. It might have been.
Well, I have a bit of a fun story about that. Okay.
So it shows up in it shows up in the rescue scene of Morpheus in 1999, The Matrix. So tell me about that.
Well, this was a bit of a roller coaster for me. So I visited a friend and contact of the collection here, Dan Shea, and his collection at the time back in 2013 in Nevada. And he had some movie props, including the Valmet LMG from Commando, wow. One of my absolute top favorite action movies of all time, certainly of the 80s. Some other stuff as well, but I need to stay on target. What appeared to be the minigun from Predator and T2. What it turned out to be was the backpack and the rig and the mount, including with the cut down bit. So there's a slight change between those two movies where they cut down the rig. James Cameron wanted a slightly different hold, I think, on the gun. And then they told me, well, that's actually not the gun from those movies. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. Because due to some, I think he'd sold it on and there's been a change of ownership. And he said, but that is the one from The Matrix.
Wow.
So I was literally holding a composite movie prop of those 3 incredible movies in my hand. So I didn't really feel disappointed anymore.
No, that's
there's
on my bucket list.
Cheesy photo of me that I will dig out and we'll probably throw up of me looking very young, struggling with this great big heavy thing.
Cool.
And another thought occurs actually. Although you clearly trump me on power, because whatever sci-fi magic is going on with these 10mm caselet, standard light armor piercing round, Gorman says, and yet he then says it's explosive tipped. Slight contradiction. Anyway, let's say this is a more potent small arms round than a 5.56 or something, with a magic 99 round magazine. This thing, what, 3,000-4,000 rounds per minute, 7.62. This might be older tech, but it's trumping this all day long. So Predator, obviously, it's that kind of not panic fire. They're trying to do. They're following whatever drills that they're intended to follow. But the Predator is up in the trees, and they only nick him.
And that was that line: "If it bleeds, we can kill him."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Classic. But the point is, they don't kill anything with it. Mm-hmm. And then in T2, the T800 has been programmed, well, or told, depending which version you're watching, to not kill anyone. So he shoots up the cop cars and stops them doing what they're doing, but he doesn't kill anyone with it. And then in The Matrix, we're only shooting computer programs. Now, plenty of movies you can find where this thing does do the business, but just thought I'd throw that in there.
Okay, that makes things more complex.
Another thing that comes to mind with Predator is that, and this is, as far as I know, nothing to do with any meaningful drill. I've never actually, it's about the only thing I haven't fired that I would love to fire is a minigun. You see Jesse Ventura in that amazing shot, same director as Die Hard, of course, John McTiernan. He kind of cocks it left and right by rotating the barrel cluster, which is just, it does everything that, running a slide on a pistol or pumping the pump grip on a pump action shotgun does. That movie, we mean business, without actually being worth doing at all. Yeah. But it just works so well. The unveiling of it, him coming into shot with it, and then just laying down the noise as well. In an era where sound effects weren't always great, pre and post heat are kind of my watershed there. It just sounds amazing.
Do you think it was a recording actually of a minigun firing? It's got that high pitched kind of whine to it.
It certainly sounded right at the time. It's close. I don't know if there's any live audio of a minigun firing in there. I would have to guess yes. Maybe tweaked. Very little was just done with raw audio in those days, but they get it absolutely right. Lots of movies later get it completely wrong. They have it sounding like a 50 cal machine gun, chugging away. No, it's that. It's just the Burt, as people have come to know it as. So yeah, I'm a little afraid of losing this one and perhaps the whole game. Losing at my own game. Right, well, I'm sure we could ramble on about these for the rest of the day, but let's see if we can work out who the heck has won this thing. But I think everyone's the winner, really.
No argument there. They're all great.
Let's get these things off the table and have a chat. Right. I must admit, I'm not entirely confident that I've pulled this one off. Okay. So let's dial back to the pistols. I went a bit long view there. I think you've nailed it. Well, you've won on power because 10mm. As much as we can argue about 9mm versus other things, it definitely beats 45 long Colt, and we have the capacity to think about as well. The old 6-shooter. Yeah, not going to cut it there. It's not in so many 80s and 90s action movies. As much as I made the argument that I made, I think I'm just going to concede that one outright.
Okay, well, I would still say the Bren stands on the shoulders of giants. So
yeah, and I think you've tied that up really well with Miami Vice, which I guess as time moves on is not way up there in the public consciousness, but for sort of gun guys, people who are into firearms history or contemporary firearms or any of that, they know perfectly well how influential that was. Yeah. Not just on other Michael Mann stuff, but the genre as a whole. Go back and watch some of that, because the competition-inspired shooting, who were actual competition shooters.
Yeah, it was a gentleman called Jim Zubiena.
That's probably the one I'm thinking. Is he the one where he does that very rapid 3 shots that they only do 2 sound effects for? That's the only shame of that scene.
He also does a really cool scene with a SPAS 12. He executes a bunch of guys in a car, and I've never seen anyone hold a shotgun this way, because he's got it running in automatic mode. So he puts his hand over it like that to stop the muzzle climbing, and bang, bang, bang.
That is a technique that I've heard about and was actually told to do with. Occasionally we will. We'll get involved with a sawn-off shotgun for filming or something, and I was taught to put the hand over the top as well because of that extreme recoil. I think to mainly save your wrist, apart from anything else. Yeah. SPAS 12 is a bit different, but that's interesting. Yeah, so definite win there. We'll see if we can come up with some scoring as well. Secondary, I think, is a bit closer.
I'm going to concede to you on that one, because the MP5 is the staple of every action movie and blockbuster of the 80s and 90s. The Jatimatic is in Cobra, and it's also in the final scenes of Red Dawn. but that's about it.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, so I think it's much rarer than the MP5, but that's about the only category I think it kind of gets.
It is, yeah. And power-wise, I mean, they're both 9mm, they're both automatic, but for just how controllable the MP5 is on automatic,
oh yeah,
it's phenomenal. Yeah, capacity, caliber, same, but no buttstock on that thing means it can't even knock on the door of the MP5. Even if, I guess, if you're really lucky or skilled, the power level would be the same.
Yeah.
But so at the very least, it can't win.
No.
And okay, so that puts us on level pegging effectively. I don't know if we're going to do a cumulative score as well. That seems like a bit too competitive. But
winner takes all.
We'll see. We'll see. And the final round, that's really interesting. Like sci-fi made-up thing versus very real thing. That I have to point out. You mentioned this, that this is man-portable.
Yeah.
Only if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse the Body Ventura, or Bill Duke, all of whom are massive. Or Chris Hemsworth in the modern-day action movie Extraction does it, wrangles it as well. A few other people have managed it for short periods, but good grief, that thing is hefty.
Can you imagine the recoil?
I don't have to imagine. Thanks to the magic of YouTube, people have attempted this. So the one that sticks in my mind is Full Mag, is the name of the channel. And he loaded up a real one. Now, part of the problem here is you can't carry around the power and, well, the ammo feed they've accounted for with the backpack. Yeah. Which actually goes back a long way in real history for another time. But you can't carry everything on you. Whenever you see them firing that, there's stuff off camera. Yeah. So it's questionably man-portable in the first place. Clearly designed for aircraft and vehicles, although it's rifle caliber, hence minigun. That's where the name comes from, by the way. Scaled down from the 20mm M61 Vulcan. It's questionably man-portable, and then, as you say, the recoil. So the chap at Full Mag, they did it in slow-mo filming. Look this up if you haven't seen it. And he starts firing this thing. I assume it's at 3,500 rounds per minute. 3 bullets are roughly, like 1 bullet goes through the gel block downrange, quite close downrange. I think it's only 1 bullet. The other 2 are already off, and then it's just slewing. There's just no way to control that cumulative recoil in the way that you see in the movies. How do they do it in the movies? Blanks. Yeah. No recoil from blanks. So the gun drives itself. You don't have to have a blank adapter on a electrically driven gun, so that all works fine. But yeah, so I would kind of go point of order on man-portable, but that was never a criterion anyway. We said up front that this category could be anything from a rifle up to, and in fact the pulse rifle, although it's nominally a rifle and in its role it's a rifle, what's inside is a submachine gun. I dithered right at the last minute. And I was thinking of grabbing the M202 flash rocket launcher from Commando.
Ooh, okay.
Which might have won the day for me there.
Can I argue it logically? So Rarity. Yep. The minigun has been in more, and it's a production gun.
And there are
so I think so I think you get the Rarity.
I suppose I do.
You get the Rarity.
I'm thinking of the Tommy gun. Yeah. But yeah, the pulse rifle as a concept and as a movie prop. Very rare. Okay. Then power. I'm going to argue no replacement for displacement. Nice. Peace through superior firepower, though. Okay. No, you do win on that one. I said that myself, I think, in that round. So then it comes down to the movies. So I'm leveraging Predator, Terminator 2, and The Matrix against Aliens. What do you think? I've got to concede it. I've already told you that my current favourite movie, not just of the 80s, 90s action genre, is Predator. It's the one movie, I'd say that and Hot Fuzz, funnily enough, which is just a great action movie in itself, and homage to 80s, 90s action movies, are probably the only 2 movies I can watch anytime, anywhere, as Vasquez would say. But Aliens holds a special place in my heart and lots of others, but it's just one movie. You've got 3 movies. Ooh. I am conceding. Thank you, sir. Which means you win this round of Antiques Gunshow, and I'm not even mad because it's a lot of fun and some great choices. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Great to have you on, and please do remind us what your channel is,
Yep.
where else we might be able to find your
Pretty much on YouTube, Hollywood Guns, just search for that, or hollywoodguns.com if you're on the web.
And of course, if you go to IMFDB, your stuff pops up there as well.
Yeah, I'd like to give them a plug. If you're interested in movie guns and what guns featured in movies, anime, video games, the Wikipedia style resource for that is imfdb.org.
I may even have edited and created occasional pages on that myself.
Very cool.
Not that many, but some of them. And people can get some merch, I think.
Yeah, if you like, this is a t-shirt that I designed. It's the AMT hardballer long slide, obviously from the movie Terminator, with the quote, "The 45 long slide with laser sighting."
Excellent.
Edit that out.
So that's it for this episode. I'm sure we'll revisit this format again with somebody else next time. Very, very grateful for Wilson for joining us here for this one. We will be back next week with the normal format of What Is This Weapon? Please do all the normal YouTube things, liking, subscribing, all that stuff. And do check out the History of Weapons and War app for a lot of other channels and us with no ads. And some of those channels have longer form content on there as well. And remember to visit our 3 museums if you're in the UK. But whatever you do, see us again here next week. Guns. Lots of guns.